Trying to find the right light. All right, I know I look a little horrible tonight. I've been home all day. How's everyone doing? Is everyone going mad with all of the corona news and everything that's going on? So I know this is really taken over people's minds. I know this is something that everyone is worried about. I have to say that we all should. We need to be informed. Tonight, I think with the topic, it kind of, we'll go through it. I'm gonna say it kind of deals with what's going on because our world is a very chaotic world right now. I can honestly say this is something in my lifetime that I've never gone through. I can probably say most of you can say the same thing. We all just need to be very diligent and very careful of our surroundings. Someone said it perfectly. Social distancing is not, how do they say it? Totally forgot. Social distancing is not ignoring people. It is taking care of our health. It is taking care of other people's health. We have to ensure our own as well as our families. So there is a lot that is going on in the world right now. There is a lot of unrest, a lot of doubt, a lot of scaring people. This is the power of social media, that it is good and bad for many reasons. So I honestly believe with everything that is going on that this really plays and feeds into tonight's subject. So sorry if I sound nasally and sorry if I do cough on you. I do not have the virus. It is the pollen that's around. The older I get, the worse it seems to be with me. So yay me. Hope you guys are feeling well. As I said, I look like a real hot mess right now. I've been home all day. Today I had no clients, so today I've been home. I had a very wonderful cleaning crew come in to offer their services with everything that's going on, and they wanted to clean with a purpose, and they came here and cleaned my house, and absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. Angela, if you happen to see this, I cannot thank you enough for what you have done today. You are a blessing. So I see all of you hopping on. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for getting on here. This will be, like I said in the description before when I was talking about it, this is going to be slightly interactive. So I'm going to try to keep up with some of your comments and once we get into the feed. But the reason why I wanted to make this is because I've been talking to a lot of the grieving mothers in the groups, and I will say this first and foremost, there is no reason to commit suicide, but the reasons that are there are more than what you think. Look at my case with Grayson. It's you have to step back and think about before you say, because a lot of people's like, why would he do that? Why would he kill himself over a speeding ticket? Stop. Think about that comment, because a lot of the things that I have written down that people have said, you wouldn't think that that would be the reason why, but you never know the situation that people are in. So I'm gonna go through what I have and kind of dive a little bit into it, and then then we can start the interactive part of where you guys can say what you want, ask questions, or you can add to the reasons that you have heard. So what I've come up with is I have the most common, and then I have other reasons. So I have them written down, and of course we all know the most common reasons. The most common reasons are being bullied. That's for adults and children. In that case of that little 5-year-old that was going around, that was viral for a while, of the child just saying, I want to die, because everyone was saying mean things to him and picking on him. How would you feel if your child, your spouse, your sibling, whomever was doing that to you or to your child, your spouse or sibling, whoever, you would be upset about it. But there are people who in the world that just really don't give a shit. Or just very, very crude, rude, whatever word you want to call it. It is sad because there are bullies in the world. And sometimes that we are friends with them and we don't think they're like that. And they make little comments. So we have to be very aware of the verbiage that we give people. We have to understand when we talk to somebody, we need to talk to them, not at them and not down to them. So we all know that bullied. We also know that depression, anxiety, mental issues, the mental disorders, mental issues is a big, big thing. I had a client who lost her brother to schizophrenia. He developed it in his teens and he was a young adult, and he basically took his own life because of the fact he was afraid that the demons were going to come back and get everybody. That is a serious illness. That is a serious, overwhelming mental thing that is so real in reality. Narcissist, yes, very. That's another. Another common one is abuse, whether it be physical, mental, or sexual. And that abuse is not just when it happens, it could be down the road. I know I suffered from PTSD for a while, and now that I am much, much older, with help, I've been able to get through that and get past that. Now, are things that pop up still? Of course. PTSD is something you'll always have. Look at Chester Bennington, one of the lead singers for Linkin Park. I don't know all the details of his life, but I do know that he had abuse when he was younger, and it stayed with him through his whole entire life, and it just one day got overwhelming, and he took his own life. So it's not something to laugh at or to think that you're going to get over. It's always going to be there. And those are the most common ones that everybody thinks of, and they're like, oh, I understand. Still no reason. Yes, it's understandable because you can relate, you can understand why they're in that mental area. But other reasons that people kind of scratch their head or they look at you like, that's a reason. No reason is a reason, but yes, some of the reasons that you wouldn't believe. Breakups and relationships, most people can say, oh, okay, I can understand that. A lot of these young teenagers who are having their first heartbreak, a lot of times they don't get over it and they have a hard time. I know Josh and his first heartbreak really took a toll on him. We were worried about him for a little while. So broken hearts and relationships are really a big deal. Stress can come in many, many forms. For example, of what we're going through right now with this virus. A lot of people, their anxiety has gone through the roof. A lot of people are buying into the hysteria and they're not understanding how to back off, how to look with a different eye, how to get information, how to inform themselves. They're just buying into the masses. And that's the scary part. So we need to make sure that the stress of that is not making some people so uncomfortable that they do extreme things. It is not the end of the world. It is not the zombie apocalypse, or however you want to say that. I can honestly say we're going to get through this. We're having a tough time in all of the world society. It's not just America. It's the whole entire world. So our stress levels are at a major high that they haven't been in, I don't even know when. I really don't. So that right there in itself. Stress also with everything that's going on. School. Normal day, A lot of the kids are stressed out about school. Us adults are not realizing what is going on in our schools anymore. So these kids have a lot more stress than we ever had when we were younger. So multiply that with being home, not having their social life that they're accustomed to. Their everyday schedules are in uproar, as well as us adults and teachers. So now that they're having to do work on these e-learning days, it is really stressful for them. So we need to keep an eye on our kids, we need to keep an eye on our teachers, and we need to keep an eye on ourselves. So, with the stress levels that are high, we really need to work on that. If people have too much going on in a normal day of these kids and parents who are doing soccer, football, swim meet, track meet, this, that, and the other, this sport, choir, practice, band, blah, blah, blah. They're just going and going and going and going and going. See where I'm going with that? It's a non-stop thing. They don't get to mentally rest. You go, 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 get home, eat, do homework, go to bed, wake up, do the next thing. It's a vicious cycle. We have to learn how to decompress. I think with this virus, it's making us stay inside. Yes, the stress is going to get to you, but it is a forced way of taking a moment, taking a breath. Enjoy your children. A lot of you have seen me, and my husband has shared it. Enjoy this time that you have with your child. I don't have that. Please enjoy that time. No matter how much you bitch about it or complain, please enjoy this time because you have them. Next thing is another reason that I hear is the humiliation or being belittled. Humiliation, a lot of people suffer. Something that you didn't want someone to find out and someone found out about it and really called you out on it, or you had something in your life, example with my life when I was raped. When I finally went back to where we lived, there was a line of people that were calling me a lot of racial slurs. So a lot of humiliation, the walk of shame, basically having people just outright in front of your face, calling you names, walking to in your own home. That's hard. That is very hard. And I can understand why people, when you are that humiliated, why you're just like, screw it, I'm done. I'm done. Other reasons are they're not good enough, they're not pretty enough, they're not handsome enough. This has a lot to do with social media because people get on social media, especially these girls who are doing makeup tutorials or who are trying to learn makeup tutorials. And we have other girls or even guys get on and say, you don't need makeup. No matter how much makeup you put on, you're never going to be pretty, or this, that, and the other. We need to stop that. We need to stop that with our boys as well because, you're not buff enough, or you're not strong enough, or you're not masculine enough, or you don't grow enough beard, or, these are reasons. These are absolute reasons that people commit suicide. You got to see where I'm going with this. And it's sad, so sad, but that's the way our world has become. We rather sit behind, our cameras. We'd rather sit behind our keyboards and call everybody name in the book. But God forbid if we get called that, so that's where I'm going with that. Also, the fact of, and this was part of Grayson's thing, is with the speeding ticket, he had made a comment one time that he felt like he was not needed. And a lot of these kids are feeling that because of the stress of what's going on, because we're on the go, go, go constantly. We are not sitting and having those communications with our kids, but also it's a daily life. So they feel that the world is so out of touch that they're like, they're not going to miss me. It's crazy. Absolute crazy nonsense. Another thing that these kids are really worried about is them not being good enough, is they didn't win the race, or they didn't win the game, or they dropped the ball during the game, or they cost the loss of the game, or they didn't get the scholarship to the college because their parents can't afford it. How many times have you heard that one? That's a sad one. Secrets in the past that come up, that goes under humiliation, but also things that have come up that people have found out, or the secrets that you've kept have just become so overwhelming that you just can't move on with life anymore. Self-hatred. There are people out there who are cutters, and I've known a couple of them, and at first I really didn't understand it, but once they explained, I get it. Still not an excuse, but I get it, and they have reached out for help, and they're doing better. So if you see somebody that's always wearing like long pants, long shirts, and it's the middle of summer, have a conversation with them. Don't flat out, hey, are you a cutter? Don't do that. Have common sense, please. But definitely reach out to them, and however you want to, or say, hey, by the way, I had a friend who did this. I don't know if this is you, or however, in a good way to approach that would be good. Self-hatred is a very, very difficult thing to see, but you hear it in certain comments, like they're constantly berating themselves. They're never good enough to themselves, no matter how many times you say that. A lot of times self-hatred is a learned trait, so that has to go back. Seeing a therapist, that helps as well. Rejection is another one, a huge one actually. Rejection in your job, a test, school, people, parents, friends. Rejection, rejection from a college. That could be the last straw. All these reasons, not just one singular thing. It could be a conglomerate of things, or it could be just that one singular thing. But a lot of times what you think might be so minute is a buildup of a lot of things, like the rejection letter. That could be like they had a bad childhood, they had this, they had that, and the rejection letter was just the last straw. That was like, you know what, done, screw it, I'm over with. So these are the things that you have to think about with all these reasons. We all know addiction. Addiction can be very, very powerful and very deadly. So a lot of times these overdoses, it's an overdose, but a lot of them do it to actually die that way. So addiction is a mental thing, and it can eat you alive in that respect. This one, not that it was surprising to me, but it was one of those where I had to sit and really think about this one. It said no serious goals in life, no path, no desire, no passion. I don't know on that one, except for the fact of that has to be an overwhelming depression issue, or maybe a mental issue. There has to be more than that. But then again, you never know. Like, you got to hear the backstory of those. That's where I was going with that. No friends. A lot of people who are absolutely have no friends whatsoever. A lot of times they are very isolated. Now, my husband and I just had a very down-to-earth conversation last night about me not having friends. I'm a very private person, and I do open up to you guys, but there are certain things that I'm still very, I don't want to say standoffish, but I don't open up 100%. I have a tendency to be very reserved, but I do enjoy talking to people, getting to know people, and helping them. And I have a tendency, and I think that has a lot to do with my military background, is when I make friends, they're there, and then I don't have any more friends because I'm so used to them going, bye-bye. I don't have another way to explain it, but I'm learning, and it's difficult for me to allow people into my personal sanctum, even though I'm the first one to jump in somebody else's, like, hey, how you doing? You know, a little weird, I know, but it is what it is. But the no friends thing, I can understand, especially if you are seriously having no friends and you feel very isolated. And the opinion of others really gets to you. So that's a thing. I'm going to touch base on this one a little bit longer because it has to do with me and someone else that I know who's near and dear to my heart about chronic pain and illness. A lot of you people know about Dr. Kevorkian years ago. If you don't know him, that was in my lifetime. But if you guys don't recognize that name, look him up, because to me, he was a saint. To me, he was. A lot of people called him a murderer, a criminal and stuff like that. You're either on one side or the other side of the fence. People who were dying already wanted to die on their own terms. The people who were in chronic pain wanted it to stop. So with chronic pain, if you've never had a pain that is 24/7, non-stop, crippling, just in your head to the point of where you can't function or think properly at all points of the day. Not just, oh, I have a headache or I have a migraine. This is really terrible. This is constant. People in chronic pain just want the pain literally to stop. I have Crohn's disease. I actually have ulceritis, but ulcerative colitis. The word's not coming out. But I tell people Crohn's because they know what Crohn's is. There was a time in my life that it was overwhelming. It hurts worse than childbirth. That's how bad it was. And I've had 2 kids naturally. Chronic pain is a very, very hard thing to deal with. And when you just want nothing else but that to stop, that's a biggie. And also with illness, a lot of these people with terminal cancer, I mean, they know that they're going to die, but they want to die on their own terms. With other illnesses as well, that it's eating them. And those I can understand. Again, no excuse, but I can understand where people and their mindsets at that time. I can. So with someone who you know that's in chronic pain, check up on them. Ask them about their mental awareness. Discrimination. If you have never been discriminated against, whether you're sex, gender, or color, well, sex and gender is the same thing, but you know what I mean. If you've never been discriminated against, you don't understand how that comes. I promise you it's not a fun feeling. When you are constantly looked at like you bring the plague, or you're going to murder somebody, or you can't do anything because you're this, that, or the other, it is very, very, very difficult to stay in a good frame of mind. So you're constantly being bombarded with negative thoughts. Another one that's going on right now that we are going to see a lot of is financial, credit, and professional ruin. Look at our stock market. Look at people who, like me, I'm a small business owner. This right now has me worried to death about my business because I'm in the industry where I touch people. I take every precaution that is absolute necessary and beyond, because that's what it's taught, it's mandated, and watched over by my governing state board. But there is going to be a time where I do have to shut down. And when I shut down, being a business owner and the only employee, I make no money. So that means no bills, or no money for bills. That means a lot of fear is going to come out of that. A lot of people are experiencing that now. Financial scared. Credit in the future is scared. And then professional ruin. Because if you close your doors, you don't have the money to pay the bills, your business goes out, and here people think, well, you're just a failure. It's a vicious, nasty circle. So that is another thing that we need to watch out with all this that's going on. PTSD. This is huge, 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 huge. in all of our lives, but it also to the firemen, the police department, the 911 dispatch, our paramedics, our EMS, our soldiers. I have a friend who her husband retired out of the military. I've spoken about him before. Unfortunately, he couldn't take it afterwards because he wasn't getting the help that he needed, and he went away and took his own life because he could not handle the afterwards of what was going on from being in the military. It is sad to see our firemen who rush to these calls and just see the scenes, and it sticks with them. And it doesn't happen just one time. These guys are over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Look at the police officers who unfortunately have to put somebody down, or who shot somebody, make a mistaken identity because they had a gun to them. You have to think about all these things. Now, I'm not getting in a debate with you, but you have to see where they're coming from, of how their mental state is as well. So PTSD is a real thing. Someone in my case, this is a big thing, and I had several articles that I had my husband print off because it was interesting to me, and I wanted to find out more of the facts, that when someone in your life commits suicide, it's the rest of the family. A lot of the parents take so much of the guilt, aka me, that they contemplate a lot about taking their own life because of the pain, because of the guilt, because of the remorse. The biggest pain is that I don't have my kid anymore, and trying to live without that. So it's the rate of the parents committing suicide after losing their children are quite high. Also siblings, very high, and children who their parents have committed suicide. There was a story I read somewhere in one of the groups about a 9-year-old committing suicide 2 years after their mom did. That was a hard pill to swallow. Because, again, having those hard conversations with my husband, I've told you in our other lives that we made promises to each other, and every day we check in with each other of how we're keeping that promise, because it's still, after 2 months, it's still raw as the very first day. It's never going to go away. Never. So, yeah, that's a biggie. Divorce, of course, we all know about that. Divorce, sexual gender identity, our homosexual group, the LGBTQT, I can't remember all the letters, but, you know, all of my friends who are gays and lesbians, and I know a couple transgender people, absolutely love them to death. I'm just that type of person, but they get a lot of flack from other people, and this goes into the next one of religion. Religion is a big thing about, I appreciate that, thank you, I need the hugs. Religion is a big thing because a lot of people use religion as a dagger instead of a helper. So we have those extremists that are out there, and that is going into the next one of cults. I'm very big into cults, history, knowledge, and stuff like that. So if none of you know about the Jones story, that's something to reach, because it was a mass suicide. Basically, he killed everybody, and then he did suicide. But you have to be careful of those. Jamie, it's okay. You're not late. You can watch. It's okay. This was another one of Grayson's, is to see no way out. There's no other options because of what's going on at the moment. So that is, a lot of people have a problem with that one. Isolation, when you have absolutely no one around you at all, plays a lot with your mental awareness. Social media, and this is kind of the last couple that I have. Loss of a pet is another one. That's a major, major one. That hits home a lot. And social media. This goes back with, not being liked, being bullied. I have a tendency to look at it as a lot of people are living a lie on Facebook or on social media, period, because you constantly see the good. You constantly see the highlight. You constantly see the positive of everything. When you see the negative, everybody has a tendency to shy away from it. They don't understand. They think, oh, no, don't put that on my newsfeed. We need to understand that social media, yes, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. We need to sit there and really help our children to understand that not everything that you see, not everything on the internet is true. Not everything that you see on the social media is good, because there's a lot of people that post things to make them look better in other people's eyes so they can get that attention. I hope that makes sense to you, because a lot of people are doing that, who are always, someone said earlier, narcissistic. They're constantly posting themselves because they constantly need that ego stroked. They need their self, petted, because it makes them feel good, because they don't know how to make themselves feel good. And I remember that in Psych 101, and it's still stuck with me still to this day. So Freudian is my hero, okay? So just going there for that. But, also living up to other people's expectations in social media is also hindering a lot of our people. Those are the things that I've come up with, and this is now where I want you guys to interact with me and tell me, what you think. You can put a little blurps in there, and I will try to, hit as many as I can. And I'm thinking that I've gone through quite a lot with the case of the boy that's in Goose Creek. His was a snowball effect of everything that was going on. He seemed like on the outside a perfect life, but on the inside he did have a lot going on. And thank you, I appreciate that. There are other kids who got a rejection letter from college, and that was the last straw. You have kids who got a bad grade on a test, and it was the last straw for them. Whereas Grayson, yeah, he got the speeding ticket, but he also knew that we were about to find out a bunch of things. So it's a lot of the lies that started to snowball, and the things that he was hoping that we would never find out. Not that they were bad, but there were things that he knew that we would get on his case for, like, leaving work, lying to us, not telling us where he is. Because as a child, as a 16-year-old who's driving, you would think you're immortal in those teenage times, and you don't think anything's going to happen to you. And when things start happening, you don't know how to quite handle it, so you try to get out of it the best way that you know how. And Grayson's always lied. He's always had that problem since he was young, but we always could get him out of it, as in getting the truth out of him in that respect. And I think this time it was just a bundle of everything that snowballed. So the ticket was the last straw in that our world. But I've known people who wanted to come out of the closet, and their parents rejected them, so they killed themselves. I've known people who've gone through divorces, and they didn't want the divorce. They absolutely loved their spouse, and their spouse just told them, I don't love you anymore, and they killed themselves. Look at back during the Depression time, when the bottom dropped out. Back in those days, look how many people, jumped off the bridges, jumped off this, they committed suicide. What we're going through right now scares the hell out of me, because I'm afraid that we're going to see a spike. I read an article today that suicide for our teenagers is up 76%. Let me repeat that. Teenagers committing suicide is up by 76%. With what's going on right now with this virus that is shutting down our whole entire universe, that is overwhelming for these teenagers who have never had to deal with anything globally as scary as that what we're going through. And us adults acting like children are not teaching them healthy habits of dealing with this. So we need to be aware of what we're doing and what we are saying. Sorry, my cat hit the pole. So we have to be careful. It's a quick fix. They don't think and realize what it does. It left behind. You're exactly correct. Exactly correct. Because of the fact of when they leave their pain for us. They don't leave their pain. They leave it for us. And it is a very fine line between reality. From last year, I'm not sure. I didn't get to read the whole report, but I did see that. So I will get back to you on that one. I believe I shared it, but I'm not for definite. But I will get back to you on that one, on the exact results. So I'm trying to be very good about, getting the right numbers out. And it is absolutely scary. And what Scott has always said that he's learned from he's always said that he's heard it before in his life, and he's constantly repeating it. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. All of these things are temporary. This virus is temporary. We will get through this. We will be made stronger. But you have to have your strength and whatever faith you have. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have faith in yourself, in your family, in humanity, or whatever creature that you go to, you worship to. We have to understand this is temporary. Every pain that you have is temporary. So with all the reasons that are out there, I know there's more. I know there's absolutely more. And it scares me to think about what's going to happen in the future. I really take to heart when I hear other kids that are doing it around us, and it scares the living hell out of me. We took it very hard when the boy in Goose Creek, when we found out about him. We took it hard in the fact that we felt that we should have saved him. Now, granted, we didn't know him. But with our situation, it hits home. It really does. Do you guys have anything to add? I want... tonight was more of an interaction. I know I always like to talk. Sometimes... sometimes it gets overwhelming to talk so much. But I want to hear your feedback. It is a temporary... or it is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and it is difficult to watch our teens, and I have not. That's exactly it. They leave it with us. That's exactly it. It's a very fine line, reality versus the social media. Oh, yes, it is. How very well. I always have to paint a pretty picture in my business pages because, come in, let me take care of you. Massage will help with reality. Massage will massage the blues away. It's not that easy, and it is a very fine line. You have to sit there and be honest with yourself when you post something. If it's your personal page, you have to be careful as if this is something that I truly want attention for. Am I bringing awareness, or do I just want to post something funny to make people, or am I trying to reach out and all the different things. My personal page that a lot of you are friends on now, my personal page before Grayson passed, I was very motivational and very direct. I like to make people uncomfortable to think. I don't like making things political. I don't do that because I've gotten into too many arguments. But I will say that I like people just enough uncomfortable to think about looking at a situation from a different point of view. And that's how I am with all this that's going on. This is true. This is true. Saying that last week a few calls about suicide may not have been successful, and he's been on them since then. The gentleman that's speaking, he's a chaplain, and he helped us with Grayson. Is absolutely a wonderful person, an asset to our lives and to others who he's been helping, and this is his job. Thank you. I am trying. Hearing my words. This is seriously a goal. With the roundtable discussion that I wanted to have face to face with everybody, we will have that. That there's no question. When, we don't know, because I like doing face to face. But if we have to do it on here, we will do this, because I want inspiration. I just read the rest of that. The tragedy. It is a nightmare. You're exactly correct. It's a nightmare that I don't want anybody else to have, but I want to bring awareness. And oh, wow. Brianna, I did not know that. Wow. My heart goes out to you. And that's another case right there. That's another case that you look at it and your heart just breaks, because, these people, they're in pain. They're hurting, and they just want the pain to stop. We have to make people understand. I want people to, I just want to help. I really want to help, and I'm trying to bring awareness to the community. I really am, and I will keep being on my soapbox. I'm not going anywhere. I can honestly say that Grayson kind of threw me in the forefront. This is something that I wanted to do, not so much this subject, but here I am, and I am going to make people uncomfortable and talk about the things that freaking suck. I'm going to talk about the hard parts in life because of all the stuff that I have been through, and I am a survivor. I've been here. I'm going to make you understand that it is temporary. You can do this. That I do know. You're right. We need help with HIPAA laws to change so parents can help their children over 18. You're exactly correct. We do need, in that respect, just like with Josh, now that he is out of the house and over 18, we could not get him help in the respect of us getting someone directly in touch. We had to kind of go about of saying, here's the person, reach out, do this. So we need to come up with better laws. So that's one of the reasons why I want to have the roundtable of, I want to get into schools. That's a major thing. PTSD, your childhood, yes. It can leave you broken. You're exactly right. And that's, getting in the schools, because we need to teach these kids at a young age how to heal from these things. It is something that you'll never get over, but it is something that you can get through. If we teach them the proper techniques and coping skills, we can teach them to be better adults and get through things. I think we need a peer roundtable for these guys. And this is what I want to have with everyone. So, a heartbreak to the pain of a disease. Exactly. My grandmother, died from a broken heart. She died from technically choking on her own vomit because her heart gave out, because she had a very weak heart, but she also died from a broken heart. That I know for a fact. Again, not a good family life, but, with my grandfather coming back from the Vietnam War with severe PTSD till the day he died, he was always grabbing people out of, the beds and being on the floor because Charlie was after him. It's being in Vietnam really screwed a lot of people up. So these soldiers are having a hard time. So it's not easy dealing with the mental that they have. But I don't want to keep you on forever. The interaction that you guys are giving me tonight, I am floored and absolutely in love with you guys reaching out, and I appreciate everything, and I am not going anywhere. You are here with my hard moments, You're here with my good moments. I'm trying very hard to have good days. My husband and I are having a lot of hard conversations, but they're good conversations. I've never been so more open, honest, raw, direct, from the heart, to the point of yelling. I mean, we've always had good communication, but it's really upped the game. I didn't think I can be any more honest than I have been with him, and it's helped. We eventually both are going to get therapy. Yes, I've crawled out of a dark hole before. Do I think I don't need therapy? That was a question that he presented to me last night, and it made me stop. I do need therapy, but I also love helping others. So me learning therapy helps others as well. I know you're always going to be there, James, and I appreciate that. Trust me. I know when I need to reach out, and I do. And there's my husband with such beautiful words. I love you too, honey. I do care about each and every one of you. The ones who have been on here consistently, you are amazing, and I actually have support that I never thought I would have. So we are all in this together. A lot of the moms that are on here are in the same situation than I. They understand a group that we never wanted to be a part of, but we are a part of this group, and they stand just as strong as I do. I'm just a loudmouth that likes to speak, and I'm going to keep speaking. So I need your guys' help to get on the base, because I want to talk to the young cadets. I want you guys to help me get into the schools, because I want to talk to these kids. I want to talk to firemen, to police officers. I will talk to anybody who will listen to me, and I want you guys right there with me. So thank you for everything. Thank you for still standing behind me, and thank you for spreading the word, because this is something that I know that needs to be heard, especially now during this time where we have a lot of uncertainty. We have a lot of scared people, and we need to let them know that we will get through this, that you don't need to do anything drastic, because I promise you, on the other side of the darkness, there is light. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. I will go back through the comments and directly touch base with you, and thank you. Tonight was good. I appreciate that. You've helped my heart a lot. So have a good night. Bye, guys.